here today with the sole purpose of telling you all about my thoughts and opinions regarding Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutants in Manhattan. Now, the game has been out for a few weeks now, and if you keep up on your video game news, chances are you have seen and or heard the general consensus of the game, which is not good. I've seen countless, don't buy this game, don't play this game, leave it alone, burn it at the stake, whatever. And while I like to keep things fun and lighthearted and optimistic because I think life is too short to look at everything as half empty, I want you guys to rest assured that I'm not going to sugarcoat my thoughts on this game because it definitely has its flaws and its issues. That said, I feel like there can be some fun derived from it if you have certain expectations, and I will get into all of those things in a bit. Pretty soon, probably in a minute. Mutants in Manhattan is a action hack and slash video game developed by Platinum Games that features your favorite Ninja Turtles in their quest to stop the bad guys from being bad. And at the head of all of the bad guys is Shredder. And I don't think I have to warn you guys about spoilers in this video because, that's like saying Link fights Ganon. Do you know what I'm saying? Like TMNT, the Turtles fight Shredder. That's just what happens. So I won't go into too much details, but that's kind of just the premise of the game. So, nothing crazy. As you play the game, you will go to different locations. You'll go to the sewers, the city, Yep, that's, I'm not even going to edit this out because I feel like that's a real testament of the level and the level design in this game, which I'll go into more later. So while you're adventuring throughout the city and its sewers and other places that are slipping my mind, you will encounter BP, which I assume stands for battle points, and you will accrue these by fighting people, by collecting these green gems you'll find laying around the levels. If you revive a fallen comrade, if you complete mini missions, you'll get these things called BP, battle points, and you can use those to go down into the lair and purchase items from Splinter. And you can get things like slices of pizza that'll restore your health, or you can get certain weapons that'll help you in the boss battles. I think those are kind of what you're limited to. I admittedly did not explore all of the items. I found the ones that worked best for me. I want to say there were probably 15 different items you could choose from, maybe more, maybe less, but I never felt really compelled to try everyone out. I just found what worked, and then I just stuck with it. So, what else is there? Ah yes, there is also the skill points that you get after each level that you finish, and you use those to unlock ninjutsus and upgrade them, acquire new ones. So each turtle has 4 options, 4 ninjutsu slots. Sounded like I said something else there, and I did not, so I apologize if you thought I did, but I did not. And what you can do is you can swap those in and out as you see fit, assuming you have the skill points to unlock different ninjutsus. You can do so to your heart's desire, and then once you find the ones you really like, you can just focus on those and upgrading them, making your life easier in all 9 levels of the game. The way I'm going to do this review is by just going through the pros and the cons of the game. I feel like that's just kind of the easiest way to do it. To be honest, it's a very short game and there's not a whole lot of content there to really dig apart and dissect, so it'll just be easier and more orderly if I just list off the pros and cons. And because I like to see the glass as half full, let us start with the pros of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I almost said Mutants in Manhattan. Mutants in Manhattan. Screwed that one up. I think the game looks really cool. I really dig the art style that Platinum Games went with. I think it's just natural for our friends to be in comic-y, booky, cel-shaded-y kind of sort of art. I think it just fits them very well. So yay! I also thought the cutscenes were really fun and really, really engaging. I think, obviously the game captured the turtles' personalities, and it was fun to watch them interact and just kind of spew off their 1 or 2 liners. That said, there is a downside to these cutscenes, but I'll attack that in the cons section. I was really impressed at how good the AI was at reviving you when you are shell-shocked, aka dead. I also think it's really fun to try out different ninjutsus and upgrade them. Also, kind of a bonus, there are charms that you earn while playing, and each charm kind of offers different passive abilities, you know, like you'll be stronger, or your cooldown times will reduce, and so that's kind of something fun to dink around with also. By far though, I think the biggest pro of Mutants in Manhattan are the boss battles. I just found them to be very entertaining, and most of them were really good at kind of staying on that brink of like challenging versus frustrating. You know, they were a fun challenge for the most part. Some of them were just kind of frustrating. But most of them, you know, you had to use some like tact in there, and you had to like try to like sync up with your buddy. I played, by the way, co-op. There's no local co-op, but there is online multiplayer. So if that's something you're into, consider that as well. So I played online, and the boss battles were by far the highlight of the game. You know, each boss has 7 bars of health, and you have to constantly chip away at it. Okay. Boss battles, very entertaining. Most of them really good about, you know, not being too frustrating, but being challenging. The problem that I ran into is that I found myself, when I was kind of on the brink of death, just backing up away and letting my AI and my online buddy like take down the boss. And I would just stay back from a distance and throw my shurikens at him. I would just throw those at him all day, every day, and slowly chip away his health. And it actually was a very viable way of defeating the boss. And my buddy would do the same thing. If he was low on health and we didn't have any continues, we would just stay very, very far back and just throw our shurikens. That's all we did. And we would win 90% of the time with that tactic. So you can be as tactful as you want, but you can also kind of sort of hack the boss battles and just stay back and just, yeah. So there's that. Alrighty, let's talk about the cons of this game. So if you don't know me, hi, my name is Brittney, and I love cutscenes, I love story, and I love characters. I thrive on it. That's what makes the game move for me. And with TMNT, when you're playing co-op, and I played the whole game co-op. I don't know if I mentioned this already. Hopefully I did. But if I didn't, I played co-op the whole time. When you're playing co-op, how it works is you're in your lobby and everyone's like, yeah, let's do it. And everyone presses start, or whatever the equivalent is on the PlayStation 4 controller nowadays, option, and you get a brief cutscene, and then the game begins. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. But as we were playing that, I kind of had a suspicion that I didn't get the full story, and so I just briefly started a single player campaign later that night, and sure as shit there was an entire other cutscene that we didn't get while we were playing in multiplayer. And I'm not sure if every level has a different cutscene or not, because unfortunately, unlike multiplayer, you don't have access to every single level when you are playing in single player. So there's no way for me to kind of just briefly like pick each level and check out to see if there's another cutscene. So that was a bummer for me. This was also super annoying because after we finally beat the game, it suddenly just ended. We didn't get closure, we don't know what happened because the game just ended, and it's only there that I can assume that if you're playing single player, you would get another cutscene. So it's just annoying that you don't get those when you're playing in co-op. You don't even get the option to watch them. I mean, I would think it'd be pretty simple to implement. Hold X to skip, and if everyone holds it, then you just skip the cutscene. So actually that's even featured in the little cutscenes that you do get in co-op. I want my cutscenes! Another annoyance of the game was the super repetitive formula, and what I mean by that is every level basically worked the same. So you would start the level, and then up at the top of your screen, you would have a little progress bar, then the boss's head would be at the very end, so you would know as you completed little mini missions, you would get to the boss. And so April would be talking to you, and she'd be like, hey guys, there's some bad guys up ahead, you should go kick their butts. And so then we would go kick their butts. Hey guys, there's some enemy bases nearby, you should infiltrate them. Then we would go do that. Hey guys, there's some stolen goods around there. You should go deliver that to point A or point B or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? And it was like that for every level. Which brings me to this point that I want to make, and I was going to save this for later, but I guess it's kind of flowing in right now, is that I enjoyed TMNT as much as I did which granted, I'm not saying I enjoyed it a lot, but I don't hate it and I don't despise it, and I think I did get some entertainment out of it. And I think the reason for that is because I played it in small doses. I played the game maybe over a course of three and a half play sessions, so maybe like an hour each session. I think the game's like 3.5 to 4 hours long, depending on what you do and how you play and blah, blah, blah. So because the gameplay formula is so repetitive and it kind of gets to be like pulling teeth towards the end, because you know what to expect and you just want to get to that boss, because the boss fights are the most enjoyable part of the game. You know, it's just better to do it in small doses so you don't get overly sick of it. The level design is also a little bit too similar to one another. Like I was saying earlier, you have the sewers twice, but the second time you go into the sewers, the water moves, so you can kind of surf on the water. And then when you have the city, once is on the streets, once is on the rooftops, and then once is back on the streets. But you later get to control, what's it called, a Krang droid, or one of those Krang robot mech things, which is actually a nice breath of fresh air, but it's kind of the only one you really get. I cannot remember any of the other levels. Again, probably just a testament as to the level design. It would have been cool if they could have maybe incorporated areas you would have found in the city, instead of doing the city like 2 or 3 times. You know, do the streets of the city one time, and the next time maybe have it take place in a mall or maybe in a bank or something like that, just to kind of vary it up a little bit. I think that would have probably made a difference. The final thing I'll bring up will just be the repetitive dialogue. Now, the dialogue and cutscenes, in my opinion, were great. They were fun. You know, they're like, oh, this is entertaining. But when you're outside of the cutscenes and all of your little ninja dudes are doing their moves, example right here. So every time I would have Mikey do one of his specials, he would say, oh God, what did he say? Let's boogie. That was his thing. So if I had 4 specials saved up and I'm like kicking something's ass, and then I wanted to use all 4 specials, let's boogie, let's boogie, let's boogie, let's boogie, over and over and over again. And it just got super, super repetitive and kind of annoying. Let's boogie. Let's boogie. Let's boogie. The other thing that's annoying is April and Splinter. I think this applies to both of them, but more so April, is that she says the same shit over and over again.
I'm picking up a huge swarm of bad guys. Be careful out there. I'm picking up a huge swarm of bad guys. Be careful out there. It's an enemy helicopter. They're scanning the ground from up there, so be careful. It's an enemy helicopter. They're scanning the ground from up there, so be careful. I knew it. It's the enemy. I knew it. It's the enemy.
I'm about to wrap it up, I promise. But I think what's most disappointing about this game is I think there's just so much potential there. To be completely honest and transparent with you guys, I can't remember the last time I played a TMNT game. Probably when I was like a little wee lass in kindergarten or some shit. So I'm not sure what other games are like. I don't know if they follow the same sort of formula. But something I really got away from playing this game, or something I really took away from playing this game, is that I really want like a badass like fucking TMNT game. I'm talking like Arkham Asylum, you know, like how they did with Batman. Like I feel like Batman has some really solid titles behind it, and I would just hope for the same sort of like cinematic and super dark tone-ish, not has to be dark, but you know what I mean, serious sort of mature take on TMNT. I think that could be really cool. And I don't know how likely it is that you'll get like that dark, mature tone with it, because it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, hello, hi. But even something that was more kid-friendly, but actually had like more epic story and cutscenes and dialogue and character growth, and you know, those sort of things. Like I think that could be really cool. And again, I think that's one of the more disappointing things about this game is just you see the potential. Like when you those first few levels, you're seeing that potential, and you're like, hey, actually this won't be so bad. Oh, it's because the first few levels everything's new, and then after that it starts getting really repetitive. So yeah. Well guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed my review. I feel like usually when I like finish up a review, I'm all jazzed about it. I'm like, oh my god, it's so amazing. But this is new for me, friends. So I will go drink my sorrows away with whiskey. If you're under the age of 21, I'll drink them away with water. And yeah, if you guys have any questions about the game, let me know, and I will answer them to the best of my abilities. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.